What happens when you come across something you'd prefer not to meet?
What the
Tonight, we're exploring some of the most unsettling camping encounters caught on camera. Cryptid creature. There's something about the following video that just doesn't sit right. Camping in itself is dangerous enough, always embedded with the looming threat of wildlife or a scary encounter with another human being a very real possibility. But what happens when a camping adventure turns altogether otherworldly? Just ask this group of campers who are settling in for the night, laughing and telling stories around the campfire. You know how that goes. But what's fun in games soon turns very quickly into one of the most shocking and mystifying things ever captured on camera. During the middle of one of their campfire tales, one of the campers soon directs everyone's attention to some erratic movement happening just steps away from the campground.
Hey, un peu gros chat, j'aime pas ça. Je vais me barrer.
One of the campers throws a lit torch to the base of the tree to reveal a small, strange gray creature with an alien-like head and a bulbous black eye peeking behind the tree.
Éclairé, putain!
It suddenly reveals its long-fingered hand, almost as if it is attempting to grab the torch. And, with a loud noise from one of the campers, the creature retreats fast, disappearing as quickly as it appeared. What do you make of this? Some sort of unidentified earthly animal, or maybe, just maybe, a creature from another world? You decide. Faceless man.
I'm not even joking. What the
It is said that Halloween night is when the veil between the spiritual world and the physical one is at its weakest. The legend of All Hallows Eve says that the dead can drag the living back to hell with them, which is why people dress up in costume in order to confuse the dead and remain on Earth. That being said, do you think you'd be brave enough to spend Halloween night camping all alone in the middle of the woods? Well, that's what this man did. As he's making camp, he decides to make himself a cup of coffee for the long night ahead, as he's a nature photographer and is preparing to take some nighttime wildlife shots. Just as soon as the video begins, a white shadow figure can already be seen moving in the background, unbeknownst to the man entirely. But unfortunately, it only gets worse from there. Much worse, in fact. As the water for the coffee is coming to a boil, the man begins to hear strange sounds in the distance, along with weird floating orbs of flashing light. Confused, the man goes closer to attempt to investigate. He initially begins to think that he's seen someone move amongst the trees.
I swear, I keep seeing someone. Hold on.
As he goes closer, he believes he's not alone, and he is right. As soon as he moves to the left, a branch breaks ahead, and he sees a shadow right in his path. The shadow looks back to reveal a faceless-looking man, exceptionally pale and very tall.
He's a person. I'm not even joking.
The man moves quickly to the left in order to avoid the figure, and the video ends there.
Joking. What the I can't see it.
So what could this be? A well-done Halloween prank, or perhaps a wandering spirit, looking to bring someone back with them. Uninvited guest. When there's nothing but a thin nylon tent standing in between you and a stranger, how safe would you feel? In the middle of nowhere, in the dead of night, a man is about to fall asleep after a long day of fishing and hiking. Just as he's about to fall asleep, he begins to hear loud footsteps circling his tent, getting closer and closer by the second.
Somebody's walking around out there very close to the tent.
All of a sudden, whoever's outside begins to touch the man's tent in several different places.
They're touching my tent.
Stop.
The man is clearly rattled, but manages to keep his composure. He keeps trying to catch their attention, calling out, "Hello!" several times, but the person does not respond.
Hello? Hello?
As soon as he unzips his tent, the person begins to walk away, and the man is now begging for a response.
Hello? Okay, they're walking away now. What do you want?
threatening that he is armed with a knife. The footsteps return, and the person collapses the man's tent on him, which causes him to escape the tent and go to confront the person. But the person's just standing there, watching carefully, and though the man keeps trying to talk to them,
I think they went this way. I see you! Get away!
the person again does not respond. Suddenly, the person lights a cigarette and the man runs, only to return minutes later to find the person stealing his camping equipment. Defeated, the man leaves and makes his way back to his vehicle, but the person decides to play cat and mouse, running after the man as he heads back.
I hear them coming. I can't see the shadow. Here's a path.
He runs faster though, and manages to finally make his escape, just in time. If you were in this situation, what would you do? Would you let fear overtake you, or would adrenaline kick in? Hopefully, you never have to find out. Trail cam. Most of us probably don't like to think about what goes on around us while we sleep, right? But unfortunately for this next video, one woman had to learn the answer to that question the hard way. An avid camper, this particular woman likes to set up trail cameras around her campsite in case she captures any kind of lingering wildlife. She enjoys getting to see what kind of creatures come to visit her while she's fast asleep in her tent. But unfortunately, that's not all the visitors she got that night. What she captured on her trail camera is some of the most puzzling and eerie things we've ever seen. Please be warned though, the following footage might just end up living rent-free in your head for a while, much longer than you'd probably like. At first, when the woman reviews the footage, she manages to find that a family of deer came to visit her campsite, along with a few adorable squirrels and raccoons alike. But that's not all. The trail camera also captures what looks to be a figure of some sort. It looks as if it is moving backwards and forwards through time almost, sort of scrambling in and out as it moves around in the distance. It's terrifying, there's no question, and just as soon as it arrives, it dissipates into nothing, and the video ends there. There's no follow-up footage or any kind of explanation from the woman either. In fact, it seems as though this was her last post to social media. Hard to say what happened next. Hopefully she's okay, wherever she is. Terrible trip. What happens when a peaceful, serene nature trip turns dastardly and you can't do anything but wait it out? That's the case for the following video, which is captured by a man well known in the van life community. The man's channel is normally dedicated to his quiet, restorative nature trips he takes in his remodeled van as he travels the British countryside to get away from the hustle and bustle of the big cities. After settling into his initial spot in a rundown English town, the man has second thoughts about spending the night there. A last-minute decision has him leaving his spot in favor of going further into the country, thinking he's going to be much safer alone. But oh, how wrong he is. As soon as the man begins to drift off to sleep, he's awoken to the sound of someone attempting to break into his van. The thief is raucous in his attempts,
I think someone's outside the van.
jiggling the door handle with great force, enough to rock the van back and forth. Seemingly frustrated at the door's inability to give in, the thief smashes the entire window in, clearly expecting the van to be abandoned.
Someone just tried the door.
Hey!
The man screams in defense, which scares the thief off, but the interaction has clearly left him shaken. He decides to pack up and drive himself home, traveling more than 3 hours in the dead of night at top speed. Thankfully, he managed to make it out with his life.
Someone just tried the door.
Hey!
Unknown visitor. How do you feel about camping by now? If those didn't scare you, this one certainly will, as it contains something so entirely strange that upon rewatch after rewatch, different things seem to reveal themselves each time. The premise is simple. Man is camping, man hears noise, and man investigates said noise. Nothing we haven't heard before, but what he captures is so very far from familiar. Before the camera even begins to film, the man remarked that as soon as he got to his campsite that day, a strange, powerful odor began to overtake him. The only thing he thought to compare it to was death, naturally.
There's something dead over here. It smells like something dead.
But as the day fell into night, the smell only got worse from there. The footage begins with a man hearing loud footsteps upon the forest floor, along with a few loud branches breaking, and he fully expects to see a creature reveal itself. But that's not exactly what he captured. Or is it? You decide. You can see something peek around from a nearby tree, with many people commenting that you can also spot its breath right before it reveals itself. Upon first watch, it looks like a smiling woman. Second watch, it almost looks like the face of a pig. And the third and final time was sure the man caught Sasquatch on tape. This one is up to you. What do you see?